Hello and welcome to another episode here on my channel. My name is ChaosMole and today we are taking a very early look at Thunder Tier 1. What that is? Well, this is by some of the people who also made PUBG. They were working on this as a side project, and then at some point they were going to the same publisher slash developer who also made PUBG, and they were like, hey, you want to make this a real thing? And they were like, wow, this looks pretty cool. Yes, please, let's make this a real game. And now we are getting closer to, well, at least some playtests. They don't even declare them as alphas or betas. They're literally saying like, hey, this is our playtest. Please check them out and tell us what you think. So what is this game? Well, as you can already see, this is a tactical top-down shooter. And it is very realistic. It tries to be very realistic. There's an arcade mode and a realism mode in the game. And yes, you might say, ooh, an arcade mode. Don't get fooled by the name. The arcade mode basically just means that you have a few less enemies on the map, and I think the difficulty is a little bit lower. But this game is not excusing any mistakes. If the enemy sees you and you cannot like kill them quickly enough or take them out, you're in trouble. Like, this is not one of those games where you want to be seen. As you can see, I can already shoot out the lanterns here, and this is very important because in the middle of the screen, you not just only see my weapons and my health. On the right corner, you also see how easily visible I am to the enemy. Right now I am nearly a Christmas tree on the street, and then underneath it there is the sound, and that is very, very important. I had multiple moments where even with just 2 bars, if you were on the other side of a wall, an enemy will hear you and they will, well, not attack you immediately. They're more like, there's a sound where there shouldn't be a sound, let's check it out. And by the way, you will see this here in a second. Unfortunately, it wasn't me. It was one of my AI colleagues who just started to run for whatever reason. And the enemy will hear that. Yep, right there. He started to run. They heard him. And now they are like, oh, what the hell is going on here? They're going into position. And yeah, this is a patrol we are taking out. And we are trying to be really careful. As I said, those are AI players. You can play this with friends. You don't have to play this with the AI. I actually did a few rounds with a buddy of mine, and we played on realism. Oh boy, we got our ass kicked. There was actually one round where we did pretty well, and then unfortunately it was super tense. Like, we were in the building with tons of enemies and we had to arrest the target, and my buddy was like so tense that an enemy with an AK came just storming in our room we were in, and he shot him. And then we got the message, hey, that was the target, you just clipped the target, congrats, mission failed, try again. So yeah, that was really unfortunate, but still, like, it was great. Like, you really had this tense feeling of shit. You don't necessarily know where your enemies are. You can hear them. You see some movement here and there, and it's a really tense moment. And right now you might think, man, your AI buddies are really good at aiming, aren't they? Yeah, they have a little bit of a god aim, not gonna lie, but don't get fooled. You need a good amount of control to really make them usable, because they sometimes run where they shouldn't run. They're taking some corners they shouldn't take. So you have to tell them like, hey, don't go there. Hold the corner, defend this area. Like, you can give them commands. You can do that on the fly pretty quickly. Like, the menu is pretty easy to understand. But I think the real fun is when you play this with friends. The inventory is so far so good. I would say it's very much PUBG inventory. Like, the inventory management is actually pretty good. It's pretty easy. You can search through enemies and then you can take like some of the ammunition, some of the weapons. I wouldn't take any of the weapons the enemies have because you are a special unit, so you have military grade decked out weapons, where at least those enemies we are fighting here right now mostly have pistols or some super old AK, or not even AKs. They have like SKS, like super old Russian World War II rifles, or even like there's like, what is it, a Kar 90, which is like an old World War II rifle, or even World War One rifle. And it's like, yeah, they have super old weapons. You don't really want their equipment. And you have a lot of variety with your character yourself. Like, you can choose what type of weapon you want to take with me. Right now I have an MP5 with me, but there are tons of different weapons you can try out. And I have to say, right now one of my biggest concerns was a little bit the sniper rifle. The M24 you were getting, well, at least the M24 we had here. Keep in mind, that was not all the equipment and weapons which would be in the game. We just got like a part of it. And the sniper rifle feels a little bit useless because you were getting all the downside of a sniper rifle. So that means you have a bolt action rifle. You have to reload after every shot. You're shooting very slowly. You're also very much centered on one enemy, because the scope you're using makes it pretty easy to take out one enemy, but it doesn't give you a lot of view around that enemy. And you might say, yeah, okay, that sounds like what a sniper rifle is doing, right? Yeah, but the biggest problem is that you don't really get more range. So you see the outlines sometimes here in the video, right? There's this white circle around me. That is not my shooting range. That is my visibility range, how far I can see and how far I can see enemies. And unfortunately, that circle doesn't get bigger when you have a sniper rifle. So the maximum range of that rifle doesn't really help you, because if you don't see the enemy, it doesn't really matter which type of weapon you have, you will not shoot the enemy, right? Because you don't know where that enemy is. And so having a sniper rifle with technically more range doesn't really help you if you cannot use that range, because the visibility doesn't get higher. And what I would love to see is that when you're using a sniper rifle, you have a little bit more visibility with that said rifle. Because again, shooting with those things takes time. The reload time after every shot is really, really slow. And so already there are a lot of downsides to not make the rifle super OP. And I would love to see a little bit more with that. The same goes with weapons who cannot use a silencer, or, well, silencer is not the right word, suppressor, like shotguns. There is no reason for me to take a shotgun right now. Like, even if you have those moments where you are in a house, those moments don't happen too often, and even then, you don't want to go through a house with a shotgun which is not really suppressed. Like, keep in mind, enemies are relatively good at hearing you. By the way, here I got discovered, and now reinforcements are arriving quite a bit. And those are not just the soldiers we have fought before. Those are actually decked out elite soldiers who are using cover, who cover themselves, who are using positioning. They know where you are. Well, not exactly where you are, but they suggest where you are. And they are much, much smarter in what you are doing. So the moment you are getting found out, which brings us back to the shotguns, right? You don't really want to be found out. You are in trouble. Like, those people do not joke around. And again, this totally adds to the realism part, but it also begs the question, why would I ever use a shotgun, especially when you can take only one main weapon with you? You cannot take a shotgun and an assault rifle with you. You have to make the choice for the whole level. Do I want a shotgun, or do I want to have an assault rifle or an SMG or something like that, right? So they still have to figure that out a bit. Yeah, I tried to go over the chain area here. Unfortunately, I cannot jump over it, and I also don't have the tools to open it up. But if I understand this correctly, you will have tools how you can clip through it. And that should be really cool. Like, I still think some enemies can hear you a little bit too easily right now in the game. Like, you saw it earlier, right? When I was walking around at the wall outside of the building and it was relatively quiet, enemies still could hear us, and they were like, huh? What's that? And yeah, small things. But besides that, this game is awesome. Like, it sounded like I was like taking a piss on this game, and I clearly not. Like, I totally believe that this game is pretty amazing, especially when you are playing with friends. Like, if you were looking back to the old Rainbow Six days, or even like the old Ghost Recon days, or even a little bit of Jacked Alliance. I know Jacked Alliance is like a turn-based game and stuff, but just saying, like, if you were looking back to good old realism shooter, this game is great. This game is absolutely great. Like, yes, I might be pretty good in killing the enemy here, right? Like, I need 1 or 2 shots and then they're down. But the same goes for you. You are not invincible. You can die as easily as the enemies. Like, I even had moments where, like, one of the elite soldiers gave me a headshot. That bullet completely did hit my head. I was gone. That's it. So you can die pretty easily in this game if you are not careful. Like, if you're not playing tactical, you're getting screwed. Like, quite a bit. And there, like, I think in the full game there will be 10 missions. And the mission takes about, well, actually it depends, like, how good you are and how often you have to redo them. But this mission on realism with a buddy of mine took us over an hour. And after an hour, we had to say, okay, we have to end here for today because we didn't finish the mission. We couldn't finish it because we had to restart multiple times because we screwed up. Not because the game was like unfair to us, because, well, we screwed it up. But so far, this game has been a surprise, an absolute surprise to me, especially because I have never heard of it before. And people are like, well, how did you hear about it? Well, believe it or not, good old Twitter advertisement. Yeah, I got like an promoter tweet, and I was like, huh, this looks kind of interesting. And then there was the playtest, and I was trying it out, and so far, I'm in love with this game. Like, I have been looking for a good tactical shooter, like something new, which is also doing some stuff different for quite some time, and we didn't get that. Like, I mean, I could mention Ghost Recon here, but let's not. We all know how Breakpoint ended up and all the other Ghost Recon games. And I'm really, really looking back to some of those tactical shooters. And I think this game is providing it. The top-down view, I actually thought it would take me a little bit longer to get used to it. But the reality is, no. Like, after a few minutes, I was completely over it. And I was actually enjoying my time with it. So it doesn't really bother me at all. There is PvP. There's also some PvE horde mode. But I will be honest, I haven't played the PvP. I've only played the PvE horde mode, so to speak. But I don't know. I don't know if I need that or not, especially like the PvP mode. Don't necessarily care too much, and I will probably mostly play the single player mode, and that's enough for me. Like, again, it looks cool. It is really, really fun. I'm looking forward to another playtest. I can actually play with some friends of mine because unfortunately they came in too late, and we only had like 1 or 2 hours of playtime, and it was really unfortunate. Yeah, I definitely want to see more of this game. And I will definitely keep my eye out. And you should too. Oh yes, I will die here, by the way. I will fail this mission on the last meter. I will also showcase, like, for just a few seconds here, I will showcase how the equipment management works. But so far, Thunder Tier 1, cool game. Keep an eye out for it. I would definitely do so. And maybe we will do some more videos about this down the road. But thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. And most importantly, if you enjoyed this video, then and you're on your way out, then please don't forget to like the video. If you didn't like this video for whatever reason, well, the dislike button is right next to it. And if you're new to the channel, you want to see more reaction videos, previews, tips and tricks, and so on and so forth, I would also appreciate if you might consider to subscribe to the channel. Again, thank you so much for watching. I see you next time. Stay safe. Bye-bye.